Hello. Today we will be discussing artificial light and sea turtles. Here's a quick overview. Sea turtles are an ancient reptile that have lived on Earth for millions of years. They rely on land and sea for survival, and they are important for the ocean's ecosystem. But artificial light pollution has become an increasing global concern as human development expands along coastlines and disrupts natural habitats. This could cause ecological threats to the sea turtles because it interferes with their reproductive behavior, meaning female sea turtles rely on dark beaches to lay their eggs, while hatchlings rely on the reflection of moonlight to guide them to sea. But when exposed to artificial light, it causes female and hatchlings to become disoriented, and as a result, it could lead to sea turtles becoming endangered due to factors like dehydration and increased predation, which will be discussed at a later time. But for now, Abigail will go over the history of sea turtles.
So now we will dive into the history of species. Sea turtles first evolved from land-dwelling turtles over 110 million years ago, around the time of the dinosaurs. And early turtles lived on land, but some began feeding in shallow coastal waters. Over millions of years, those semi-aquatic turtles developed stronger front limbs, lighter shells, and better lung capacity, which were traits that eventually allowed them to live fully in the ocean. And that's where the branches of modern sea turtles we see today first began. Even today, sea turtles are still evolving. New genetic research shows changes in their immune systems that help them survive in the ocean. And an interesting fact is females return to the same nesting beaches, which is keeping their DNA regional, while males travel and mix genes across all populations. Scientists have also found evolving sensory genes that support navigation and long-distance migration. So sea turtles have adapted for millions of years, but now they're facing something new today, which is human impact, which is something that Roxana will explain next.
Anthropogenic activities affecting species. When artificial light shine along the beach, baby sea turtles often become completely disoriented. Instead of heading towards the ocean, they follow the brighter lights from homes, streets, or resorts. In a study, they compared natural moonlight to artificial lighting and found that even low levels of man-made light were enough to overpower the turtles' natural cues. Many hatchlings crawled inland or in random directions, which left them exhausted, dehydrated, and more likely to be eaten by predators. This shows how something small can have a big impact on their ability to survive. Malak is now going to explain how these changes impact baby sea turtles and once they hatch and how artificial lights affect their movement and survival.
It's honestly heartbreaking when you think about it. As Roxana mentioned, these tiny sea turtle hatchlings come out of the sand ready to follow the moonlight to the ocean. But instead, they're pulled towards hotel and street lights. And it gets worse. Lauren and Simon's 2007 study showed that after too much artificial light, the hatchlings couldn't swim towards the right direction even once they reached the water. They normally use the horizon and wave movements to guide them, but man-made light completely throws that off. So it's not just about getting lost on the beach. Their entire sense of direction, evolved over millions of years, gets disrupted. And as Alyssa mentioned, that disruption affects more than behavior. It impacts their body and senses too.
So, as previously mentioned, the baby sea turtles are not making it to the water. As the coast expands more and more, the more rapid the effects are. So, the turtles are dependent on their eyes to get to the water. They have special rods and cones to help them use the light to guide them. They also have funky hearing, which helps them hear the vibrations of the water. So, that's a good help. But a study conducted by the National Taiwan Ocean University said 72% of them don't make it to the water. So, knowing the statistics and knowing how rapidly they're dying, and we all know evolution happens over a long period of time, the turtles are actually not anticipated to make any evolutionary changes. They don't have the opportunity to respond fast enough. So their response is essentially no response. Their only hope is depending more on their hearing rather than the light to get to the water. But like I said, there really is not enough time to do that. So their future outlook will be discussed by my good pal, Kristen.
The future outlook for sea turtles is unfortunately uncertain. Sea turtles are facing a wide range of threats from artificial light pollution to rising sea levels and much more. As highlighted in Mark Nichols' article, Light Pollution and Marine Turtle Hatchlings, and as Alyssa had mentioned earlier, evolution takes place over long geological timescales, meaning sea turtles cannot adapt quickly enough to the rapid increase in artificial light. The graph to the right shows how artificial light pollution could be a bottleneck event, and the slope downward would represent sea turtles being restricted to the few remaining dark beaches, resulting in a concentrated population and genetic diversity loss. In an extreme case of bottleneck effect, sea turtles face the risk of extinction. However, there is still hope. Ongoing research and conservation initiatives are working hard to reduce light pollution and address all the threats sea turtles face. Below are the research and conservation groups for you to look into to learn more about how to help sea turtles.